We go ahead and I'd like to call the Monday, August 24th meeting of the St. Joseph County Public Library to order. That's the library board meeting. And first, I'd like to call the roll for the board, and just so I can see if we've got a quorum for purposes of the minutes and the like. And in doing that, if you could all just acknowledge that you received the board package and you were able to review it, that would be great. So Ann is not here, so we'll ignore her. And then Terry.
Yes, Terry? Yes and yes.
Okay, Christine.
Yes and yes.
Okay, great. Augie.
Yes and yes.
Michelle.
Yes and yes.
Marvin.
Yes and yes.
And yes for me. So we do have a quorum. And within the materials that we just discussed were the library board minutes for our meeting that we held on remotely on July 27th. So is there a motion to approve the board minutes?
Move to approve.
Second.
Second. Are there any discussion, questions or discussion? If not, I'll call the roll to approve the minutes. Terry.
Yes.
And Christine.
Yes.
Augie.
Aye.
Michelle.
Aye.
Marvin.
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Minutes are approved. Next item 4, our director's report. Deb.
This is kind of a meaty agenda, and not much has changed with the statistics or the financial information. So I'm going to skip down to the MOU you have in your packet with Real Services to start. This is for a focal point partnership, and focal points in Real Services terms are agencies or businesses working to serve residents 60 years of age or older. So this agreement is going to help both organizations share information with people that we mutually serve. Both partners in the MOU collaborate to provide good sources of information and consistent resources. And I believe this is renewing a partnership that we've had in the past. And this way we have access to the information from other agencies. So just so you know that we're partnering with Real Services on this piece. If you've been at the main library lately, you may have noticed the steel framing going up in the Wayne Street corridor. So you can start to see where the tech center is going to be, Studio 304, and some of that as the steel framing is going in. You can also see that the elevator shafts have been poured, and there's a lot of concrete going on right now with flooring pours. They're getting ready to start on the auditorium section before too much longer. Inside the building on the 3rd floor at Main, the crews are hanging a lot of drywall, so the walls are going up, and there are a lot of trades working on site with sprinklers and plumbing and walls and all of the rest of it. And then in the first part of September is the next big thing you may notice on site. The glass block windows are going to start coming out. So those you'll see, I think, protection with boards so that they will take out the glass behind them, and then those can start going in. And I think that's really all I wanted to tell you tonight. If you have questions about anything, please don't hesitate to let me know.
Deb, did we get a answer to where the glass blocks are going to go?
You know, I don't know that we did, whether they're going to be recycled or not. I don't know, Marvin. I'm sorry.
I asked when we were there, but nobody knew then either.
Yeah, I don't think we still know. Depends on how they come out of there, I'm guessing. But
yeah.
So are there other questions of our executive director regarding her report? If not, is there a motion to approve the director's report?
Move to approve.
Second.
Second. Motion made and seconded. There's no discussion. I'll call the roll. Terry.
Yes. Aye.
Christine. I say give me a thumbs up, but I don't see your thumb either. Yeah, I'll pass over Christine for a minute. Augie.
Aye.
Michelle.
Aye.
Marvin.
Aye.
I'll vote aye. So when Christy comes back in, we can ask her, but we don't need that. So the director's report is approved. We don't need a vote, is what I meant to say. The next item is the library bill list for August. And Nancy, do you want to go through and report on that?
Yes. I would first like to say, please don't be too upset about us spending $41 million. I'll point that out in a moment. On the first page of claims, you can see that we have quite a few claims from Baker and Taylor again. If you remember, Deb mentioned that we were not purchasing as many print copies or paper copies of books. And now that we are open again and receiving material, we are starting to purchase quite a bit more. On the next page of, okay, I have it in paper. Yes, on the next page of claims, near the bottom, Lake City Bank, you can see that there's a total of $38,812,000 in the purchase of CDs. So we purchased 30, 60, and 120-day CDs. And the interest rate went up a tad bit from the last time I invested, but it's not anywhere near the 2 to almost 3% I was getting earlier in the year. And other than that, the rest of the claims are our usual claims and a lot of construction payments. But I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
So are there any questions for Nancy? Appearing to be none. Is there a motion to approve the library bill list for August 24th?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Is there a second? Second?
Second.
Okay, great. Any further discussion? If not, I'll call the roll. Terry?
Yes, aye.
Christine?
I,
Okay, and you're voting now to approve the director's report as well?
yes, I did that also.
Very good. Augie?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Very good. All right, so the library bill list is approved. As you noticed, no doubt, we've got a number of personnel changes, and I'm sure that we'll want just to have a little bit of explanation as to kind of what's going on there. So, Deb, do you want to go ahead and just let us know that these were coming? You anticipate this with?
Yes, I'll start, and then if you have questions, Kara or Sarah can chime in. What you're seeing on this agenda are the layoffs for 18 materials handlers that took effect early this month, that's stated August 3rd. Those are the people that have been furloughed since April, and we did not foresee calling them back within a 6-month window. We were advised by employment attorneys that we should think about severing that relationship if that wasn't going to happen, and so that's what we did in August. Last month, we also made the decision to assign 1 substitute to each library location in order to limit any potential virus outbreak, so that we don't have people traveling between locations and working with different staff. And up until then, we've always had substitutes who went all over the system. So in doing that, we lost 3 of our sort of reliable substitutes, one who was had another full-time job and almost never could work for us, and a couple who were just ready to sort of wind down their time with the library. But we were in the process able to hire 3 of our material handlers as a substitute. So we've been able to bring back 3 of those folks that we laid off. And then we've also completed hiring enough substitutes to assign 1 to every location. So that's basically what you're seeing on this personnel agenda.
Okay, very good. And there's also a few medical leaves, a couple of the FMLA and a couple of that as well. Yeah, perfect. So are there any questions regarding the various changes in personnel? If not, is there a motion to approve the personnel changes?
Move to approve?
A second?
Second,
Okay, if there's no further discussion, then I'll just call the roll. Terry,
Aye.
Christine,
aye.
Augie,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
and I vote aye. The personnel changes are approved. The next item of our agenda is the reports of special library board committees, and I'll just note for the purposes of the minutes that there were no special library board committee meetings held since our last meeting, and therefore there are no reports. The next item of business is our unfinished business, and item 8A of our agenda are recommendation of bid awards for main library renovation. We do have a recommendation with respect to asphalt tonight or this afternoon. So I don't know if Glenn and Jeff are going to do that, or if you're going to explain it, Deb.
I'll start since they're on the phone, and then they can chime in if they need to. We're still in bid group 6, and we're down to 2 packages that need to be awarded. So tonight we're asking for approval for, this is for the asphalt, as you just mentioned. This is $99,500 awarded to Reith Riley. The only other package that's outstanding is the millwork, and that's still under review. And we were hoping to have that for tonight, but it will be in September before that's quite ready. We're going back through and doing some value engineering on a lot of those pieces. So Glenn and Jeff, did I get that all right?
That is correct, Deb. You're
Okay.
accurate. But before, we'd only identified Reith Riley as the low bidder, so now we're making a recommendation to award to them.
Correct.
And then, with the millwork, we are finishing up. We're hoping to have that wrapped up and approved or ready for approval this meeting, but it'll be the next meeting.
So, first, is there a motion to approve the awarding of the awarding of the contract to Reith Riley for asphalt in the amount of $99,500, package 6F? Is there a motion to approve that?
Moved.
Marvin made the motions. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Michelle. So is there any questions or discussion? If not, I'll call the roll. Terry,
Aye.
Christine, okay. If not, Augie, we'll go to Augie and come back to Christine.
Aye.
Aye.
I think it was Christine and Augie both voted aye. Michelle,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
and I vote aye. So the award to Reith Riley for asphalt 6F is approved. Is there any other unfinished business before we go into new business? If not, the first order of new business that I got are the change orders for the main library project, and I think there's 9 or 10. I think there's 10 of those. And Jim, I'm going to ask, with your permission, as our counsel, instead of approving all 10 of these separately, if you're okay with it, the total changes are $197,000 or $198,000. If you're okay, maybe we can let Glenn, Jeff, Deb, whoever wants to explain it, and then maybe we can. I'll indicate who all the subcontractors are. Are you okay if we approve them all in one resolution?
As long as you're identifying each one you're approving, there's no reason you can't do it all together.
Okay, so when I ask for the motion, I'll identify them and I'll identify the change amount and as set forth in the documents that we received. That's fine. So you all probably have a spreadsheet that looks like this, and that's probably the easiest way to do it. But so again, we can just go ahead and whoever wants to go through these, we can start with green demo or whatever and just kind of work our way through the explanations, and then I'll ask for a motion to approve all 10 of them. So Deb or whoever wants to do it.
The 3 major ones are the ones I really wanted to talk about, but we can get into all of them. It's however you'd like to.
I think we ought to at least mention them. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think we ought to just mention them all. So however you want to do it. You can discuss the three main ones first and then come back and just mention them, or just start with green demo and go through.
Let me start with Indiana Earth, which is the first large one you see, and that's 395,600. Oops, sorry, that's the current contract. Nope, the change is 30,191. Did I scare you, Glenn and Jeff there? Indiana Earth, this was for all of the unseen foundation demolition that we needed to do. So you may remember that they found foundations from several old buildings on the site, and this was to get all of those out there from Indiana Earth. And then there's one for Goff for $91,646. That is to construct the sound booths for Studio 304 on site. When we began this project, we weren't sure whether we were going to do it this way or whether we were going to buy pre-made sound booths, but this is a much more economic way to do it. And these are the same sound booths that Notre Dame is using on campus, and Goff also built those as well. So we're thinking we're saving a considerable amount of money by doing it on site with Goff, but that's the $91,646.
Sure.
And then Precision Wall Systems, and then we'll go through all of them, Alan, but I just want to highlight those three big ones.
Okay.
Precision Wall Systems is the third floor of the main library, and when the contractors got in there, they found all of the evidence that we'd had of damage to the sills and prior leaks, and some windows had lost their seal. When we were having roof problems years ago, we'd had leaks in those windows a lot, and there was a lot of damage when they got in there. So what this does is actually replace all of the windows on the third floor around the exterior, around the perimeter of the building with new windows. So that's the $72,021. Now, however you'd like to go through the rest of them, we can.
Let's just, all right, so, and by the way, look to me, so Sarah got a big smile on her face. So Sarah's really excited that we're replacing those windows, I think. So maybe, so that's good. So she's going to get new windows. That's good. All right, so green demo, that's demolition revisions. Go ahead. Do you want to just, we're actually safe.
Glenn, do you want to walk through those? Do you have them in front of you, or Jeff?
Sally, I don't have those in front of me, but I believe what the green demo is, if I recall correctly, is instead of having Schindler do the demolition of the elevator, we are having green demo do it. It was cheaper to have them do that than to have Schindler try to demo the freight elevator.
Actually, this is a negative one, Glenn. So I was thinking this might be something that Indiana Earth picked up. This is the minus 10,600.
For, you're saying on green demo?
Green demo was, yeah, green demo was a negative.
That would have probably been related to, I'm saying credit back of 10. I apologize, Deb.
That's all right. And they've got it all in their packets. So it's let me just run down the list, and then if anybody has any questions, we can. So green demo was a negative 10,600. Indiana Earth was the 30,191. Robert Henry was 11,341, and those were pergola piers that went in. Mechanical Concepts was also a credit for 11,585, and that was a change to the radiant floor system. That's going to be in the connecting wing because there's no basement under there, so there's radiant heat in those floors. Structural Steel Services was a $2,000 upcharge, and that was a change to the elevator shaft that we made. Goff, I already mentioned, that was $91,646, sorry, for the sound booths. Herman and Getz was 4,285. Those were miscellaneous changes, and there were a bunch of small ones that went into that. Precision Wall Systems, $72,021. Sokowski Construction, $507. And Larson Danielson, $8,074. And those were for doors that we added predominantly in rooms where we didn't think we needed them at first, like the reading room, and then decided that we really did need the quiet in there, and we went back and added doors in several places. So that's what that one is. So total, as you mentioned, Alan, was $197,880.
Yeah, and I've got the green demo in front of me now. So the green demo, there's actually 3 changes that made a saving of just under $11,000. But basically, first of all, it says ERS install at Wayne and Michigan. So there was a savings with respect to what they were doing at Wayne and Michigan of $25,000. So we saved $25,000 there. But then they had an additional change. They had an increase of $11,400 for renovations, demo revisions relating to that unforeseen abatement. And then they also had an add-on of $3,000 for foundation walls at the excavation area. So those, when you netted those all together, it was a savings of just under $11,000. That's what it looks like there. So, so first of all, well, are there any questions, first of all, regarding any of the change orders?
There aren't any change orders that result in increasing the total contract by more than 20%, are there?
No, I don't believe so.
No, there's no, because the contract amounts we can see, all these contract amounts are at least $500,000.
Yeah. I gave them the original bid, Jim, and the new contract amounts. So I don't believe so.
No, that's not the case. I can see the changes, yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe so either.
No, they're not.
And even so, like Indiana Earth and the roofing contractor, those were for something that came up that was unforeseen, isn't
Yes.
it?
Right.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. And even there, it's 30,000 on a 425.
Yeah, and they still didn't increase it by 20%.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure what else when you went down the list. Goth, was that something else that was unforeseen when we?
The sound booth, a little bit, but their contract was over $4 million, so we're good on that one.
All right.
Yeah, we
So,
had a comparative price of about $200,000 for the sound rooms. So Goff's number was about half.
Okay.
okay. All right. So
Well,
that,
the legal question is whether it increases any contract by more than 20%. None of these do. So.
And Jim, I think we already made that declaration on an earlier change order where we did some of the demo, because it did go up, but that's not the case this time, I believe.
all
I
right.
have a question regarding the window replacement.
Sure.
Sure. Precision wall.
What does that do accounting wise if that's considered to be repair and maintenance rather than part of this project, or is it?
You know, could be treated either or. As long as the building's opened up, it makes sense to go ahead with it. But we could have done it either way, I suppose, Terry.
Maybe there's no effect. We're not, tax wise or anything else. I was just.
No, we're not.
Typically, that's where I would have put it back in the old days. But it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Good question. Okay. If there's no other questions, let me get this motion out. I'll kind of word the motion and then we'll let Rachel make it look all good. But anyway, so is there a motion to approve the following change orders? The green, which are contained in our package. And one, the change order for green demo, which is a savings of $10,600, and Indiana Earth change order, which is an increase of $30,191, and the change order for Robert Henry Corporation, which increases their contract by $11,341, and the change order for mechanical contractors, or I'm sorry, mechanical concepts, which gives us a savings of $11,585, and the change order for structural steel services, which gives us a net savings of $2,000, and the change order for Goff, which results in a additional cost of $91,646, and the change order for Herman and Getch, which results in a change of $4,285, and the change order for Precision Wall Systems, which results in an addition of $72,021 increase to their contract. And finally, the change order for Zilkowski Construction, which results in an increase of their contract by $507. Is there a motion to approve those 10 change orders?
Alan, you missed Larson Danielson at the end.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I got my reading glasses. And the change order for Larson Daniels, which results in an increase to their contract by $8,074. Is there a motion to approve those?
And Alan, and you listed the structural steel services as a $2,000 decrease is actually a $2,000 increase.
Yeah.
Okay, so noted. Is there a motion to approve those change orders?
So moved.
Okay, Michelle, second by.
Second.
Okay, very good. Marvin, any further discussion?
Alan, you and I talked just before the meeting, and I wanted to say that in future packets, unless the board really wants all of the supporting documentation, we won't clutter the packet with the supporting documents because it made the packet hundreds of pages long. We'll just give you the AIA contract information and then the cover sheet if that works. And if it doesn't, we're happy to put it all in there, but whatever your pleasure is.
That's my suggestion, unless you all disagree. But having said that, obviously, once you look at the board packet, if there's anything you want to see, just let us know. And quite frankly, if that results in us having to defer something till the following meeting, we can do that as well. That's not a problem. Because I know sometimes you won't review these things till the weekend. So then we have the meeting on Mondays. But I'm not anticipating a problem. Is that okay with everybody?
Yep.
Jim, you're okay with that? If we're okay with that? You're nodding yes. I'll note you're nodding yes. Very good. Okay, so let me go ahead. I don't think, did we vote on that yet? If not,
No.
call it. All right, so no further discussion. Terry, do you like to? Yes. Christine?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. The change orders are approved. Next order is 9B, which is a resolution to approve our construction budget. And I must admit, I was having trouble printing that out, so I just took a picture of it. I got it from my phone here. So I think Deb talked to us about it. And this is basically what we're looking for here, and we'll let Deb discuss it. But we're looking for a resolution. Well, here, Deb, I'll let you explain it. So why don't you go ahead and explain it, and then I'll make sure we've all got it.
Sure. I think you all know from previous reports and things that I've mentioned that several of the bid packages early on came in higher than we might have anticipated, but there's been a lot of unforeseen changes. First we started with the asbestos, and then we had all of the changes in the site plan. And we've been working with all of these contracts before we recommend an award. We've been going through them. Bully and Andrews and the architects have been going through them with a fine-tooth comb, and we've been doing as much value engineering as we could. But it's become evident over the last month or two that the contingency was dwindling to almost nothing, and we really needed to put some money back into the construction budget in order to have to deal with future changes that are coming up. So after discussion again with the architects, with the construction manager, we believe that 1.25 million actually will get us through the rest of it. And we have the funding where Nancy and I have been talking about what's in our cash balances and our cash reserves. We are fine. Part of this even came about because the original cost of the project had to be scaled way back when the city dropped out of their $2 million commitment. So we're back up to that level again, and that's kind of where I thought we'd be. But if you have questions about that, this is the last thing that Jeff and Glenn are on the phone for. What I'm showing you is two budget costs. There's the budget costs after we got done with everything from packages 1 through 5, and then the revised cost, which says 820, that's that second column. This is everything to date. So this is all the change orders as we know them. This is all the stuff that's been awarded as we know it. And you'll still see that there are some unknowns in that budget. There's some allowances that could come back out. We haven't awarded the millwork package yet, and we're hoping for some cost savings there. But we believe 1.25 million is going to do it. So that's our recommendation. And then the other part of this is the resolution to do that, which Jim prepared.
Okay, great. So why don't I go ahead and I'll put the resolution out first, and then we can see if there's any discussion. So is there a motion that by the St. Joseph County Public Library that the sum of $1,250,000 be transferred from the library operating fund to the construction fund for the main library renovation and expansion project?
Actually, Alan, let me just amend that slightly. It's going to be, we're putting it into the construction budget, but we're not putting it into the construction fund. But it'll be paid for out of library funds. Does that make sense?
Okay, so it's going to go from the library operating fund to the...
There really isn't a physical transfer. It's just, we're just increasing the amount of money that we've allocated to the construction project because we were always paying it out of various funds. We were paying it, some is coming out of LRF, some is coming out of operating, some is coming out of construction. That's a result of the bond sale. So it's just increasing the budget for the project, if that makes sense.
Okay, so is there a motion? All right, so let's start over again. Is there a motion by the board that we approve increasing the budget for the main library renovation expansion project by $1,250,000?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I had one question. Deb, do you foresee that this might not be enough?
I hope it's going to be enough. Glenn and Jeff, this was the subject of it's been a subject of a lengthy discussion. And what we all said was we only wanted to do this once. So Glenn and Jeff are on the call, I know. What do you think?
Yep. It's a debit. We did have a long discussion about this with Arcos and Ramsa and the library. And we feel that this should be sufficient. You know, we know that there's still a little unforeseen that potentially could come up with the underground in the detention area from the existing, I think, theater foundations. But in general, I think we went through item by item on the budget, trying to forecast where we'd have savings and all open items. So I think we all felt comfortable that this would be enough to complete it.
Okay, I'm good.
Thank you. Okay. So we have motion made, seconded. That was discussion. Any further discussion? If not, let me go ahead and call the roll. Terry?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So the budget increase is approved. By the way, I noticed John Harlan on the phone, and I apologize. I know everybody else. I'm not sure, and I've probably met John before, but what is his role with the library? Or is he?
John is actually a visitor tonight.
Okay. And
Hi, John.
Hi,
so John, I apologize. So who are you? Or what?
I'm just a member of the public.
Okay, very good. Okay, oh, good. So if you're a member of the public, then we should make sure we note then for the, yeah, we asked that early on, so that's fine. Welcome, John. And
Thank you.
Are you in Washington tonight, or are you visiting from South Bend?
No, I'm wearing a particularly ratty T-shirt, so I chose not to appear live.
No worries, no worries. That was very good. No problems at all. And if you want to, by the way, address us at the end of the meeting, that's something you could do. We'll do it during public comment. So
Thank you.
very good. I apologize. I just noticed that, and it just occurred to me I wasn't sure who that was. Very good. All right. So we've got our, we're down to strategic plan report.
Yes.
So, Deb, do you want to go ahead and give us a update on our strategic plan?
This is very similar to what we normally present to you in terms of how we're doing on the strategic plan and our progress. And it's really a look back over the last 12 months. And even though it's it's long and it may feel like we just told you everything we did, we actually tried to give you the highlights. It's just that it's really a lot that we ended up doing last year. And for me, part of this is really just putting in context and noting the number of partnerships we've been able to build and form as we presented our services and programs. So there's a lot of mentions of collaborations with other groups, other entities, other organizations. And this is also a look at the transition that we made since March when the coronavirus took center stage. And we pivoted very quickly to digital services. So you're seeing that there too. For 2021, what we're really looking forward toward doing is to continue to work with this hybrid service model that we're developing, because I think, and I think we all think, things are just going to remain fluid for the next several months, if not year. We've always been a trusted source for information, and we're leveraging that with our community partners. So we're getting the word out about community services through our social media and our newsletters. And people are, after the first few months of COVID, when we were searching for good information to put out there, we're at the point now where people are coming to us and saying, can you promote this? Can we partner? Can we do this? And we're seeing that more and more. We're going to continue to rethink our physical spaces. Right now we have browsing and some computers, but that's about it. And I really want to try to find ways to safely serve people who need places for things like telemedicine and court hearings. We're seeing more of that take place in libraries or e-learning. We also want to try and utilize our outdoor spaces to safely offer space for homework and other activities. So there are some things that we're working to develop that may seem a little radical for us to be able to spend time outside even as the weather gets colder. We're not quite ready to show you that yet, but it's in the works if we can get it done. And we'll maintain or even increase our digital presence, including story times and book clubs and STEAM programs and other ways to engage and entertain and learn. I think you'll see us continue to step out of traditional roles so that we can help where we need to. And one of the latest examples I have is that for years we've offered a place for tax assistance for low-income and senior citizens. And we never have enough slots to meet the demand. And this year we couldn't do it at all because it was canceled almost as soon as it started. So we rely on that. We rely on community volunteers for those services. Those are usually VITA volunteers or Notre Dame students. And in 2021, I hope we certify some of our own staff to provide this service along with the VITA volunteers. I don't see this as being all that different from what we already do, where we're sitting down and we're helping people file their unemployment claims or we're helping them do a resume. It's just a need in the community, and we want to try and help with that. And then in 2021, we'll also resume our strategic planning process. We were just starting to get the background data gathering going when we closed, and so we were relying on snapshots that didn't happen because there was a snapshot of nothing that was normal. So we'll ramp that back up again in 2021. I didn't want to go through all of this individually, but I thought if you had comments or questions about anything that you saw there with those, again, it's a lot of stuff that we'd be happy, and a lot of people contributed to this report. So we're happy to address anything you've got. Any questions?
Okay, so thank you, Deb, and you all really have done an amazing job this year with everything going on with COVID and the way we tried to be as much of a resource as we can be for the community. Is there any questions? Are there any questions for Deb with respect to the report? If not, is there a motion to accept the strategic plan report as submitted?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I'll call the roll. Terry?
Yes. Aye.
Christine? Thumbs up?
Aye.
Okay, great. Augie?
He sent me a message that he had to step away for about 5 minutes.
Okay, then we'll just, he'll abstain. And Michelle
Aye.
and Marvin,
Aye.
and I vote aye. So that's approved. When he stepped away, it's a much more clean-cut look he's got there, or his picture's got. So that's for I'll have to tell him that. Okay, so the last, or not the last, I'm sorry, we have a few more things, but the next item of business and new business is our 2021 budget budget planning, the review of the budget planning documents for this coming year. And is that going to be you, Nancy, or you, Deb, or how?
That's going to be Nancy.
Go ahead, Deb. Deb and I did talk about this. The first page of the document I gave you is the usual budget year calendar. So you can see that last week I had, excuse me, a conference call with our local DLGF representative. They were not doing in-person workshops as they normally do. So that gave me a direction to move with the budget. I'm giving you today the first pass at what our operating budget is going to look like. And hopefully, after we've reviewed it, you'll give me permission to publish the budget on the Gateway website. And then next month, we will hold a public hearing, and publishing it on Gateway will tell the public when the public hearing is and when the adoption of the budget will take place. And the adoption will take place at the October 26th meeting. And then after that, I believe they've increased the time. I have 5 days to get the signed budget resolution filed in Gateway. The next page, 2 pages, are a description of the changes that I've made to the operating budget. Even though we are still proceeding with the focus and the purpose of achieving our max levy, we are decreasing our operating budget from 21,000 and change to 21 million and change to $18,072,602. It's a 14% decrease, but the reason we're doing that is so that we can, instead of only appropriating $1 million in LRF, we're going to appropriate $5 million, which will serve to fund more of the construction. And we knew we were going to have to do this. And if you look at our previous estimates of revenue, you can tell that we normally even don't spend 18 million in a year. So it's going to look a lot tighter than it did before, but I still think we will have adequate funds to operate the library. And the reason, there's also what they have changed. It used to be the assessed value growth quotient. It's now the maximum levy growth quotient. We can only increase the total of all of our budgets by 4.2%. And further on in the document, there is a spreadsheet which shows last year's operating, debt service, and LRF budgets, and this year's, and the total of the changes comes out to 4.2%. So we will not be subject to binding review by any other fiscal body. We plan to increase salaries by a base increase of 2% to all employees. Our average payroll now is about 193.8, and that would bring an annual salary cost of $5 million. And the total amount I've appropriated is $5,000,009. So there is some room for shifting should we need to. If you go a little bit past my explanation here, you'll see the budget worksheet, which is a spreadsheet. And you'll notice that some of the lines show in the 100 show a 2% increase and others show a reduction. Again, in order to achieve that reduction of almost $3 million in the operating fund, I needed to reduce funds. But I still believe we have enough appropriated to manage a 2% salary increase. And we've also put just a small amount into the materials handlers line. As Deb mentioned, we have just laid off most of our materials handlers, but we don't know that at some point things might get back to normal and we might have to hire some materials handlers. So we have left a little bit of money in that budget should we need to do that. We're also getting really good savings in our group insurance line. We have a few people, quite a few people on the ACP plan, which pays at the Medicare rate, which is much less than a regular insurance bill would end up costing. So I felt we could reduce that significantly, and that gave us $500,000 of savings towards our budget. Supplies, we did just a little bit of moving around, again, enough to get us under the growth quotient, but also increased our cleaning supplies because of the need for many more cleaning supplies with sanitizing and cleaning the building frequently due to the coronavirus. And our services and other charges, which are our 300 lines, again, almost all of that is reductions with the intent to save that $3 million. I did increase 2 lines, 391 and 393, and that is dues and taxes and assessments. And you can see that we've already overspent the dues line, and so I've increased that to 20,000. And taxes and assessments, mostly our ditch fees, came in higher this year than they had in the past, so that's increased also. The materials budget, we've reduced the physical print lines 467,000, again, to reduce the budget, but also in previous years that collection development is not allotted all of the money that's in the budget line. So they get only a portion of it. And we've told them to expect a 6% reduction in the budget that they'll be authorized to spend. So overall, the operating budget is $18,072,602, which is a decrease of 14.27%. After the worksheet, you see the assessed value growth quotient worksheet, which will show you how we come up with that 4.2%. It's an conglomeration of all of the changes. And then after that is the notice to taxpayers, showing that the public hearing will be held on the 21st, September 21st at the Keller Park branch. The adoption Monday, October 26th, again at Keller Park. And the budget estimate, the maximum estimated funds to be raised, and our current tax levy. And after that are just the beginnings of the budget forms. I was working on them, so I thought I would include them so that should you need some scintillating reading before bedtime, you'd be enjoying that. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay. So before I put a motion out there, are there any questions regarding the budget documents for 2021? Appearing to be none. I think we need to do two things. We need to, is there a motion to approve the publication of our 2021 budget? And is there also a motion, and that same motion, and also a motion to set the date of the public hearing for the 2021 budget for our next meeting, September 21, and to set the date for the adoption of the budget for our October 26th meeting? Is there a motion to do those things?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any questions? If not, Terry,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Okay, Augie,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. And Augie, we did notice, or I noticed, that your screensaver picture is much more distinguished, I tell you. That must be your Notre Dame picture with the professional photographer. Very nice. So, all right,
you.
so the next order of business is the acceptance of $199 grant award from Indiana Humanities for it's an Advancing Racial Equity Collection Development Grant. So who wants to tell us about this?
We've applied for several grants this year, and this is the first one we'd like to present. So I want to thank Lisa O'Brien, the Director of Development. She's the one who shepherded this one through. And this is for, as you see, for collection for the addition of digital and physical resources that address systemic racism and equitable policing and or protest through a humanities lens. So we're giving you actually a lot of the content that we're buying with this grant, but as is past practice, we normally have the board accept any grant awards that we get. So this is the first one.
Great. So first, are there any questions regarding the grant to advance our racial equity collection? If not, is there a motion to accept this grant?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, let's see, I'll call the roll. Terry,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
Augie,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
and I vote aye. We will accept that grant. The last order of new business that I've got is a resolution to declare excess withdrawn library materials. And as tradition has it, I'll call on Christine to make that motion.
I don't know if I can or not. I would move to approve that.
Okay, so Christine is.
Okay, I'll move. I'll also move.
Okay. All right, so Augie makes a motion for our declare excess withdrawn library materials that are set forth in our board packet, as well as, I might add, there's also computer equipment that's being declared as excess. And the motion made. So Augie, you made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Marvin seconded it.
Hey, Nancy, these aren't the CDs we just bought, right? Just kidding.
No, I don't think they are.
Very good. You think those would be excess right away because nobody checking those out? All right, very good. If there's no further discussion or questions, I'll call the roll. Terry?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. And Is there any other new business that I missed?
I don't know if this quite fits as new business, but after asking a number of questions about Bendable, Jenny had hooked, well, I got a call from a representative from Drucker, and he wanted to do an interview, which I did. And then they wanted a photograph. So there was a photographer here today trying to make me look, I hope, better. Anyway, I want you to be aware that this is just operating independently. I'm an enthusiastic user. That's how they look at this. Has no connection to the board other than the fact they know I'm on it. So if things come up and you see like, you know, is he out there speaking for me? No, I'm not. I'm just a user, and they wanted to talk to an enthusiastic user. So anyway.
We're happy that you are a user. So I think it's great.
Yeah. I think it's all for the good. It's just, I didn't want anyone to think I was off, you know, going off my own direction with board information. I'm not.
And that's good. Well, we appreciate that disclosure. Any other new business or other business before we hear from any visitors that want to speak? Any other business? If not, this is a portion of the meeting where we give public are invited to address the board. So John, would you like to address the board? And if so,
I would just like to compliment the library, especially during the period of the pandemic, for demonstrating community solidarity and helpfulness and just good feelings through your communications staff. The communications that the library has engaged in during the pandemic have just been exemplary. I mean, it's a joy to see the spots on WNIT or wherever else in the media and in social media as well. And St. Joseph County Public Library is an exemplary institution to begin with, but your performance during these unusual and surreal times has just been spot on. So I want to express my appreciation to everybody involved, and as a longtime user of the library since the age of 8 or however old I was when I came to South Bend, I always know that I can depend on the public library, and kudos.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. That's nice to hear. And that's Jenny Henneke sitting down there is responsible for coordinating all of our messaging. So she's hearing it too.
Okay, thank you for that comment. Any other members of the public wanting to address us? I don't believe so. I'll pause for a minute. If not, we've got Deb, news and education items. Anything we should be?
I don't think I have anything to add tonight.
Okay. So let me just mention again, our next meeting will be on September 21st at 4:15. And I assume, Deb, the reason you're thinking, and Jim, I'll let you think about that and just let Deb know, is because we're having that public hearing on the 21st. You don't have to opine right now, but if Deb and I need, or Deb or another board member and I need to actually be physically present at Keller Park for that public hearing, or do we just, if not, I guess you'd have to post in the notice an ability for them to do it remotely, and however you all want to do that. But I assume that, Deb, that's why you're saying that?
Yeah, I think we'll get guidance from the state and from Indiana Library Federation on whether those hearings need to be in person. But I was just thinking back to when we had the variance hearing and they postponed it for 4 months because they wanted to do an in-person hearing. So it's possible.
Yeah, and Jim, you don't have to answer right now. I'm trying to recall. I know I've seen in the paper some things about public hearings and how they were doing, at least early on, that I just sort of noticed it. But yeah, so you all decide, and Deb, you'll communicate with me, and assuming I'm in town, I'll definitely come over. There's a possibility I may need to be out of town, and if I am, we'll have to get another board member that'll do that. We can bring Christine back, our vice president. Okay, so that's that. Perfect. So next meeting, the 21st. If there's no other business come before the board, Is there a motion to adjourn?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Marvin and Michelle. Marvin, Michelle, you made the motion. Marvin, you seconded it.
Got it.
Terry,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
Augie,
Aye.
let's see, Michelle,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
and I vote aye. We are adjourned. We'll see everybody next month.
Hey,
Have a good week.
Thank
Aye.
you all.
Everybody.
you're welcome. Take
Aye.
care.
Bye-bye.